All right, well, welcome everybody. Sorry for the minute delay. How is everyone doing? I am Black Angus. You are here for Season 6 recap with my buddy Brandon Moyes. Unfortunately, I missed, I assume, a great stream for Season 5 last week. And just personal stuff come up, so I couldn't join. But thank you all for being here. Proper, if you're still in the chat, I sent you a link if you are interested in talking about Season 6 here on the stream. With me, of course, is the co-host, Brandon Moist. What's up, Brandon?
Honestly, thanks for having me on, Black Angus. Always enjoyed doing these here. It's been a while since I've been on a live stream or hosted a live stream. Unfortunately, as many of you know, I recently, my cat, Jon Snow, passed away after a 3.5-year battle with asthma. Unfortunately, his inhaler and everything stopped working for him. But I have recently, in the past week or 2 weeks ago, adopted another cat, and her name is Danny, in honor of the Mother of Dragons, and now Jon Snow's lover. So I shall keep the tradition going of having a cat named after a Game of Thrones character, and I think that's appropriate since we will be talking Game of Thrones Season 6 today.
Yeah, like I was telling you offline, I took a nap, so I didn't actually go back over the synopsises for the episodes beforehand, and it's like, oh shit, I forgot. Reading this first episode, Jon Snow is dead to start the show. I didn't realize that they killed it in Season 5 at the end. Yeah, that was like the cliffhanger for a while. In Season 6 was like, oh, Jon Snow's dead. Because Sith Kryptonian, I've been trying to get him to watch past 6. I think he hasn't seen Season 7. I'm like, dude, he's like, yeah, they killed Jon Snow. He's my favorite. I'm like, just watch the show, dude. Like, I don't know how else to put it to him. But yeah. So he's never followed up.
I guess to kind of go off of how like the shock of seeing Jon Snow killed. If you've read the books, Jon Snow in the books he's still dead in the books because George R. R. Martin hasn't finished it yet. And where George R. R. Martin leaves us is Jon Snow's still dead. But whenever I watched that for the first time, I was actually living in Jordan, and so there was the American students at the university that I was studying at, and a few of our Jordanian friends that were into Game of Thrones. We all went to one of our friends' apartments in Amman, Jordan, and they had an illegal stream up of Game of Thrones. And whenever we watched the last episode of Season 5 and seeing Jon Snow being killed, literally our mouths were just on the floor. Like, we're just like, what just happened? Like, even in the books, like I knew it was coming. I had read the books, but just seeing it happen is like, it's just like, I don't want to believe it. It's just like it's just like rewatching this when you get to the Red Wedding, you know it's coming, but you're like, I can't do this again. I can't do it to myself. Come on, I'm weak. But then it happens, and you're like, son of a. And then they leave it, and the best part is, and I think this can transition right into Season 6. I love that they don't bring him back in the first two, like right in the first episode. That's what you would expect, but no, they make you keep waiting until like the second or third episode.
Yeah, it becomes like, wait, why is it so important to just to hole up with Jon Snow's body? It's like, wait, what's going on? And of course, it was for a reason, but at the time, it's like, why are I don't know. It seemed kind of just like happenstance and not purposeful that they were like hiding out with the body. But
well, and too, I think that's whenever you really start to see Davos. And I mean, it's kind of odd saying this, but even though Jon Snow's laying there dead, but you start to see the relationship form between Davos and Jon, and Davos really learning how much Jon Snow means to the loyal brothers of the Night's Watch, to Jon, and seeing how you see his leadership skills and his leadership traits carried out after his death. And Davos starts to see that. And then obviously the Melisandre comes in and pulls her magic, which is good. And fun story with Melisandre too. We saw her true form in episode 1 of Season 6.
Oh yeah, even hotter than her normal form.
I know exactly, and very funny story with this quick too. Jeff the Iron Wolf, I'm sure he has some good hot takes about this season as well. To try to get him in here as well because he's always really good with Game of Thrones. But I was in a Game of Thrones, like a fantasy football league for Game of Thrones, and it was based off of violence, sex, storyline, and all that, like every other thing. And basically, like, say your character got a kill, it's 10 points. So things like that, you'd get points for. And I had, for the sex category, I drafted Melisandre because she's taking her top off every other now and then. I'm like, boom, I'm gonna get a lot of points. But then you lose points if they didn't look good. So let's just say in that scene in episode 1, started out, I got 50 points, but then I lost 100. it went from looking real good to real bad real quick.
Yeah. I was going to figure what was the interesting point for episode 1.
Real bad real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, you fixed your sound. I was like, wait a minute, why am I talking to myself?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. How's it going?
Oh, I'm awake. That's about it.
Yeah.
And Peter Griffin, someone did say Thrones, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, with Davos, he really starts making headway as a character in this season going forward. Like, he's always kind of likable, but you're like, man, he's just like, he's always kneeling at the feet of, figuratively, kneeling at the feet, always like a little dog to Stannis out of like some sort of prideful reverence, for the like all he cares about is who his lord is, because he has like no religion. Like, that is his religion, in essence, is serving his lord, his master in real life. And I don't know, maybe he's kind of moving past that.
Well, he's definitely starting to go back towards what he was in the earlier part of his life as a smuggler and a scoundrel and all that.
Yeah, I think it's, thinking about Davos, with him swearing allegiance essentially to Jon Snow, it's like he has that moment of, I have been a slave to Stannis Baratheon essentially ever since Baratheon cut off the tips of his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he just kind of chucks that. He's like, screw this. I was an onion knight. I was smuggling or whatever. I don't care. That's what I needed to do to survive. And I think he's back to that point of, I will follow who I think is necessary for me to survive. And so I think for him, he sees Jon Snow as that hope in the Seven Kingdoms, where he realizes that Stannis Baratheon, his faith was misplaced. It was basically Stannis having a fear hold on him. But then, as he saw Stannis for what he was after he burned Shireen at the stake and everything in season 5, he realized what Stannis was and what he is. And he's like, no, he is no king. There is one king in the north, and his name is Jon Snow. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Melisandre. Have you seen The Witch, Brandon or Jeff?
I have not.
No.
Dude. You'll love it. You love history. You'll love The Witch, dude, because the director, he spent 4 years studying real witch trial transcripts from like Salem in that area and that era, and studied the like Puritan form Bible and whatnot. And so all the dialogue is based on like real dialogue or real biblical writings of their prose at that time period. And they even got people who are experts in like making Puritan housing and barns and stuff to make the farm in the movie. But with Melisandre, I was thinking about like her being a crone and stuff, because the movie's about a witch and it being like a real entity for the Puritans to have to worry about. It's kind of like The Shining with the real witch. And the boy, he's coming into puberty, so he's like starting to notice like only one around is his sister, and it's like, oh, she's already budded and pubescent, so he notices her, and it's like awkward from seeing that from his point of view, but kind of funny. And so he's sexually awakening, and then he like ends up getting seduced by a witch in the woods and stuff. And it just made me think of like presenting versus like what they're hiding.
Yeah, I could see that. But no, as far as season 6 and the opener and all that, it was like, especially when Davos starts saying, "Hey, you have to save him, you have to save him, you have to save him. Can you bring him back?" And she's like, "I don't even know if I can do this." That was like a real eye opener. It's like, hold on, pump the brakes. You're telling me this one guy earlier in the seasons who's not even that devout in the Brotherhood without Banner can do this without fail, and you're the most powerful priestess, and you can't pull this off? What?
But thankfully she did.
Yeah, I know, but it was just like, it was surprising that, basically the head priestess of this religion can't do what some, I barely even call him a believer of the faith can do. It's like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like. I did start coming around to Dallas before. I was just like, he's kind of cucked himself to Stannis.
Well, the thing is, he swore an oath. I mean, guys, you have to understand. Even though Davos, he was a smarty smuggler, he swore an oath to Stannis, and he's not necessarily wants to break his oath.
Yeah, right. He's a very honorable man. A very honorable character. Like he's almost to a sense the Brienne of Tarth of like Stannis, like of Stannis' Stannis. Brienne was so oath, so bound by her oath that she took, but so is Davos, and I think that Brienne and Davos both are the examples of some of the trials and tribulations that can come with taking an oath and taking it so seriously.
Yep. But, well, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, Jon's resurrection, because it was just kind of like it wasn't like this very huge thing. It was just like a quiet thing. And it was like, oh, he's back, but it's like, that was so quiet.
I think it's only quiet given America, the way we think of, like resurrecting. What example is like with Jesus, of course, where it's like, oh man, he broke the rock open, that broke the seal of his tomb, and this. So you think of like this epic thing, It's like,
like in the Bible, it's like you hear about how it happened, but you don't hear about Jesus' actual. It's supposed to be an angel that rolled the stone away from the tomb, and it's like. Almost like if you had I imagine it would have been more of like a Jon Snow kind of thing, like, boom, you can breathe again, kind of a deal.
And I love how he explains like Lady Davos, like, what was it like over there? It was cold, it was black, there was nothingness.
Mm-hmm. And that was interesting.
Yeah, like I don't know, like given that the Lord of Light has some reality. His falling has some reality to it, with Melisandre and company performing perceived miracles. It's kind of like having someone die and they're like, oh yeah, like it was just nothing. It's like, I was expecting something cool, some idea of a heaven that you never heard of, or an afterlife or whatever.
Well, hey guys, I would like to show you Daenerys or Dany.
Hello, Dany.
This is Dany. This is the newest member of the Phantom Menace.
Good kitty.
And that's all.
She jumped up, and I figured I'd give her some screen time.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
But no, I think his whole resurrection thing it was the very end of an episode, and it was just him like just waking up.
Like he just woke up straight out of a dream.
Exactly, that's what it looked like. I see the super fan is in here. Does the super fan have any comments on Jon Snow's resurrection? Or is he still muted?
He's still muted.
Yep.
Yeah, I always have to like go back and check the hangout because I leave the page up so I can see the chat.
Yeah.
See what's some more? Oh yeah, they kill after they kill Marcella with the poisoning. They kill Tristan, her his own cousins.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was fucked up.
Yep.
Spear to the head.
Yeah, such a awful way to just take out someone in royalty too. Just fucking like smash a spear through their face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, like, I mean, honestly, and here's something that like the whole Sand Snake storyline, I thought, and
Was it
all right, my one
easy
critique
on?
of the show is that Dorn and the Sand Snakes. Honestly, I could care less. I'm like, I could care less about the Sand Snakes. I could care less about Dorn. You
They
know,
weren't used to their fullest.
yeah, exactly. It's like there was so much more that could have been done, and I think that's something that I think a great spin-off series would be going in through the lore of Dorn and the history of Dorn. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well,
But I think
you
the
know,
Sand Snake,
I do like how Dorn, at least I'm not sure if they get all of them or not, but like how it ends up in what do you call the dungeons in the Red Keep?
oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like I can't remember if that's in season 6 or if it goes into season 7. I think it's 7, but
7.
yeah, I like how it rounds out the story over a couple seasons.
Yeah, that is a very valid point. I just wish that we could have seen, because the Sand Snakes are badass. I just wish we could have seen more of them and more of like the badassery that is Dorn instead of just a side plot with Jamie and Braun basically going.
Yep.
Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I forgot. Because Daenerys goes missing after season 5, and then it's like, oh, she ends up being taken prisoner by the Dothraki. And rewatching the show, it's like I do not remember this plot at all.
No, I do. I remember it mainly because of the whole fire thing. Whenever she basically,
because it was so reminiscent of when she walked out of flame in the at the end of the first season.
It's like she whenever she basically brings down the entire Dothraki leadership.
No, that's the thing. I remember that, but until I rewatched it recently, it's like I don't remember any of the lead up to that with her storyline. I remember everyone else. I remember Jon Snow Resurrection. For some reason, it never imprinted on my mind. And then rewatching it, because Captain Marvel and feminism and all this crap, it's like you kind of pay attention or you notice more than you would without the discussion. And it's like shit. Like Daenerys is like getting her dick smashed like every season. Some goes down. She gets kind of in this forced marriage. You could argue rape scenario initially with Drago before she kind of comes around to him, and then for like some other key points. Of course, she loses them, and then like every season, I've watched the thing where it's like every season something bad happens to her before she ever proceeds and progresses, and it's like shit. They started season 6 and she's like enslaved.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, too, I mean, I think that they this is about the mid-season. It's about season. It's like episode 5 or 6 when this happens. Before Hodor unfortunately meets his end, but I think her basically taking control of the Dothraki, I think that is one of the most powerful scenes in Game of Thrones. Whenever the fire is going on in the like basically the capital of the Dothraki in Vice Dothrak, and you see whenever at the end you just see her walk out. She's completely naked, but she's unburnt, and that is just, I think that the whole cinematography, that whole scene is so powerful. And it shows, like, it's literally showing a foreign people, hey, I have this power. There's a reason why I want to lead and why I should be your leader. And it's her, whenever she's just looking out amongst everybody. And then especially when you see Dario Naharis, I think that's the moment he's like, holy shit. She's got something in her. Like, this is crazy. And Jorah, it's just confirmation of how powerful she is. And I'm just like, that is such a telling scene.
No, the best scene for Moist, I have to interrupt. The best scene for Dany is when she brings her dragon up to the Dothraki, and she basically has them at the point of these men will happily march to their death for her based off one. And it was a kick-ass speech, but based off just one speech, these men are willing to march to their death, cross the sea, which they've never done with their horses or anything ever. That's powerful.
Yeah, I think just in general, I mean, her, because I can, that's a scene I completely forgot about too, and I just rewatched it, just the other week. Yeah, no, that's super. I think Danny really this season, I guess, just based off of what you just said there, Jeff, and what I had just said, this is the season where Danny's just like, I'm a badass bitch. I'm going to take what's mine. That's kind of the vibe. She's realizing, she's like, I have been through so much. Now I will show you, she's like, I will do whatever it takes, and it's my time to shine, and I will show you what I can do.
Oh, yeah. And she definitely does it without fail.
It's like Black Angus. What are your thoughts, I guess, on the whole Danny? Since Jeff and I were talking about Danny and her kind of storyline, what do you think about her in season 6?
Oh yeah, really. I'm trying to think how the storyline ends. I think season 6 ends with them crossing.
Yeah, basically,
crossing the sea.
getting the fleet and crossing the sea is where the season literally ends.
Yeah, and during the Battle of the Bastards. Marine, I believe they're still. Yeah, it's Marine. The Marine gets attacked by the slavers, and she uses the dragons really uses the dragons for the first time in combat.
Oh, and it was funny because Tyrion's sitting there going, "What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" And she shows up and says, "You will stand down or you will die."
Yep.
And then they all think she's kidding, and suddenly there are 3 dragons destroying their entire fleet. She's going, "I told you to stand down. Now you're just going to die."
Well, and also another great power play. Whenever Tyrion, Daenerys, and Grey Worm are meeting with the 3 slavers, like the 3 slaver captains or whatever, the one guy of the 3, the one guy gets on his knees, begs for his life, and then Grey Worm walks up and then cuts the other 2's throats, and then Tyrion just looks at him. He's like, "You will go back and tell how gracious we were to you."
Yeah, that whole exchange is great. See, what do I think of Danny? Honestly, the first time I watched it, it was like, even though I love the show, it's like, finally, we're going somewhere. You've just been stuck, she's been taking the big cities along the coastline or what have you, and now she's like, oh, I'm going to rule. And it's like, it works, but it's also kind of obvious, Martin is stalling her story to get everyone else to catch up for where he wants them to be. And so yeah, it's just it's a relief. Finally, it's the real battle is going to finally happen for Westeros, and you're going to get Daenerys trying to get the throne. And I always thought someone was going to come up with the White Walkers. Why show them if they're not something bigger than just there's some fantasy elements here. There's these ice zombies. I like how they've made that whole thing with the winter being this entity tied to the Night King marching down and stuff. But yeah, Daenerys, yeah, really it's just a relief at this point in the show. It's okay, we can finally start getting the real show going.
Yeah, and I think, Danny's Danny, essentially, the whole story of Game of Thrones that you can see, even early on, what we saw, what it was leading up to. And it was leading up to Danny coming across and going to Westeros. And I'm reading Fire and Blood, the most recent book that came out by George R.R. Martin. And it's a history of the Targaryen family. Literally, it's so reminiscent of Aegon's conquest, and whenever Aegon, the first Targaryen, 300 years before Danny went to Westeros, or returned to Westeros, I guess. It's so eerily similar. And in season 7, whenever you have her attack the Lannister army, there's so many similarities back to Aegon's conquest and leaving whenever he left Valyria, went to Dragonstone and launched his conquest into Westeros and created the Iron Throne out of the swords of the lords that he had defeated. It is, and living my Rhapsody in the comment, it's like a second coming of the dragons. I completely agree with that. I think that is a great take. That, it is the second coming of the Targaryens. And, oh, by the way, you've had a Targaryen who's been the rightful ruler of the Seven Kingdoms the whole time. You just didn't know what his identity was, and he doesn't even know his identity yet. So I think that it's awesome that, you're seeing remembrances to the history of Game of Thrones that George R. R. Martin created, but you're also seeing that it can go. We don't know how it's going to end. We know how Aegon's conquest went with a 300-year dynasty of Targaryens, but we don't know how this is going to go. It might end with no Targaryens on the Iron Throne. It might end with a Lannister on the Iron Throne with Cersei or Tyrion. But it could also begin a new Westeros with, who knows, maybe the Seven Kingdoms will break up and be their own kingdoms. We don't know, and that's the freaking thing I love about this show.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about the hierarchy that's left to take rule. Besides, was it Euron, Theon's uncle? Besides him, he's sort of, like a legitimate, typical type of ruler, what have you, a warlord or whatnot. Daenerys is a chick who's lost her husband and lost the ruling claim because of the culture of the Dothraki.
Well, she even gave away her boyfriend with Dario Naharis. She let him go because of what she wanted.
Yeah, Daenerys, she doesn't fit the bill. Typically, she's like, some strong-headed woman. And I mean, that's like an insult, but strong-headed woman that is kind of out of nowhere and doesn't really have an army back, but she's got the name and the kind of mythical element with the dragons, and that's kind of elevated her. And then she's gotten armies later. You got Tyrion, who's a dwarf, a shame to his father. You got Cersei, who loathes not being born a man. She feels like she's the only worthy one of the three to have the name Lannister. And then you got Jaime, who was like the perfect, son, the perfect Prince Charming, but he doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to sleep with his sister and be happy. And I'm trying to think who else. You got Jon Snow. He's like the reluctant hero who just doesn't want to be called bastard, really. That's kind of his core.
Well, the thing is also, and another great part that happened this season was one of the reuniting of Sansa and Jon that happened at Castle Black that just was
awesome.
Almost tear-jerking.
And the thing is, in Sansa and Jon, looking back at it, was Jon and, I say Maisie Williams, but Arya Stark, who had the real chemistry. Like, it seems like Jon and Sansa really didn't have any chemistry, but it's like Sansa realized Jon's some of the only true family I have left. And little does she know who he actually is.
Well, still, he is family, technically.
Yeah, I'd say, he would be
cousin.
Yeah, cousin. So, but it's awesome to see that.
At this time, it's probably one of the only few living, pretty much my only living brother that I know of that is still alive. So she has no idea what Brandon Rickard is. She has no idea who Ari is. Jon's it for her right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and before we go on here, I just got a text from a friend. Likes to send me a bunch of memes and whatnot. This is very off topic, but I think this is appropriate I think our audience will enjoy this. So it is March Madness, folks. And there's also the NIT, the National Invitational Tournament going on, and the Indiana University Hoosiers are in there playing. And it was noticed while the one Hoosier point guard was shooting a free throw that Indiana guard Devontae Green has the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas unlimited ammo cheat tattooed on his arm because he's a shooter. And
wow.
It has L1, R1, square, R1, left, R2, R1, left, square, down, L1, L1. I'm like, that is incredible. Sorry to go off on that tangent, but I had to just say, I'm like, I think you guys would appreciate that.
Oh, that's worth a giggle.
Yeah. But anyway, speaking about shooters here, I think I don't know where I was going to go with that, to be honest. I was going to try to tie it into something, but I could maybe I could tie it into Ramsay Bolton's archers in the Battle of Bastard, maybe.
Well, before you're talking about Sansa and Jon, I mean, I assume if you're this far in the show, unless you're actually just trying to catch up right in the moment for season 8, you've probably seen season 7, so it's like whatever. How many of y'all think that Jon Sansa marriage might happen, especially if they reveal his Targaryen roots to
the Sansa? Never happened.
Why not?
I'm not actually. You know what? I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds.
Well, he was already a bastard.
Here's what Here's why I don't think that you're that crazy saying that. I think if something happens where Daenerys dies, or say like Jon becomes like the popular theory says, he's Azor Ahai, and how does he get the sword to kill the Night King? He has to kill the one he loves, and if he has to do that, and it's Daenerys, and he does become Azor Ahai, I think that then the possibility for uniting the Seven Kingdoms happens where he marries Sansa. I think that's a possibility, but I think it's a far-fetched possibility.
I think it's far-fetched at best because he considers Sansa a little sister, and even if he finds out they're cousins, his personal honor will not allow him to do it.
I don't think it.
I disagree though, because a king needs an heir, and
he'll find somebody else. I mean, he'll probably one of the last probably middle families left. Just that.
If not Sansa, it'll be Arya.
No, he will not marry one of the North.
I think he will.
Okay, even though she's young, what about the Lady of Bear Island? She's young, but still,
she's pretty badass too, if I had to say.
Yeah.
All right, we want to talk about strong women characters. Holy hell!
Lady Marmot.
Oh my god!
Was she like 8 or 9 years old, and she's telling men 3 times her age to basically shut the hell up and do as I said?
She's like, you're a bunch of cowards and whatnot. She's just like, my honor is with Bear Island, and Bear Island has not, stood by the fight happen. We will defend the North and the king in the North, whose name is Stark. It's just like she basically gave Jon Snow Jon Stark. She basically named him Jon Stark too.
Yeah, I mean, without the Lady of Bear Island, Jon Snow would have never gotten the army he needed. He never would have gotten the North. Ever.
Exactly. And the thing is, she's like, we can offer what, like 30 swords.
Yeah.
Like, all right, better than nothing. But still, I think
any hesitation.
I mean, she is such a great, she's such a great example for being. You have like all the, the movements to get strong women characters or what. I'm like, hell, dude, just Game of Thrones is just littered with them, littered in a good way. With them.
And the thing is, a lot of them,
characters. It doesn't seem forced. None of it's forced.
Yeah, like let's see, Brienne grew on us. Cersei is probably one of the greatest villains. I mean, I rate her top 5 of greatest villains of all time.
I agree.
Sansa, who started off a whiny little brat no one liked, has literally grown to become the brains behind Jon's throne.
Exactly. No, I remember as I have been rewatching this, and I've been black anxious to hear your thoughts as well, and then superfan Adam Shawhand, if you can throw your thoughts in here as well. Like Sansa has one of the best character arcs that I've seen, and her character arc is nowhere near being finished. We still got 400 something minutes, or 400 minutes to, I think 400 minutes to go,
something like that. Yeah,
close to it. Where we can find out the outcome of her story. I think she, like, I every time she'd be on, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is where I'm going to take a piss break. I'm going to go, you know, to the bathroom.
It's like when proper Jeremy's talking. It's like, okay, I can leave the live stream for a minute.
Well,
essentially, it's like, hey, I can't, you know, PJ's talking. Okay, I can go pee.
Yeah,
but I ain't gonna miss that.
Well, not even just that. It's the actress who plays Sansa. Her growth during this series has been phenomenal.
I know, it's like, and that's one thing that's great, and I think it's good having the young actresses with Maisie Williams and Sophie Turner, and then the kid that plays Bran Stark. You're seeing them grow up on the show, but you're seeing them grow up in real life, and I think that it's even better for their character that they are, you know, they're growing up literally on the show, in real life and the show, but the fact that they're going through it in real life as well just adds so much more to their characters that they don't have to pretend like they're going through puberty or whatever. They actually are.
You know, hey, you know what? I gotta add something right here. Think about how nice it is to grow up a child star in an HBO production compared to Miley Cyrus or Lindsay Lohan, for instance. Who else? Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, shit like that. Child stars in a normal setting. You're having a fan base on, you know, essentially a rated R plus, I would say, program. You know, so the fan base, unless parents are cool with the kids, yeah, watch HBO. I don't give a shit. You're having a fan base that's like, I would say, 14 up to, you know, middle-aged men or older, you know, and fans of fantasy. You know, you have a mature audience, and it's not just like Jonas Brothers or something. So it's like I think the kids really benefit from that.
And not only that, they're getting their ticket punched. I mean, most kids have said who've come through Disney says it is so hard to break out of that Disney mold, but starring in something like Game of Thrones and growing up as a child actor and then moving on to adult, it's got to be so much easier. I mean, look at the girl that plays Sansa. She's already in another major.
She's the Phoenix.
Yeah, she's young.
And she's married to a Jonas brother.
Really? That makes me sad.
It's not Nick Jonas. I think it's Joe Jonas who she married.
Jonas at all, dude. That's like lowered her quality now as like a catch. It's like, dude, that's like a 10 now. It's like she's like an 8.5 now.
They are a very good look. They are a very good couple.
I'm gonna look it up though.
Look at the pictures of them. They do look very happy.
Yeah, Maisie Williams ended up on a few episodes of Doctor Who with David Tennant. I mean, these kids are getting their tickets punched. I mean, Jackie Gleason, I'm pretty sure if he wanted to find work, he could probably find work without breaking a sweat.
Exactly. And I mean, and the thing is, he gave up acting after Game of Thrones because he wanted to go back to school. It wasn't like and the thing is, like, he's not saying he's like, oh, I'll never do acting again. But he's just like, no, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to get a degree from a good college. I think he's at like Oxford or something.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and props to them. And I think HBO, compared to like being on a mainstream, like a CBS, ABC, you know, Full House kind of a show, you know, these kids, they can do it for half the year, but then they can go and do their actual lives the rest of the year. They don't have to constantly be getting ready for the next week's show, getting ready for the next week's show. Yes, when they're in public, they're going to be like, oh, my God, Sansa or Arya, Jon Snow, you know, whatever. But the thing is, and when you look at their fan interactions, like stuff like that, like on social media, they enjoy it. That's like they actually enjoy it. Where I think, you know, other people like, you know, Miley Cyrus and whatnot, I feel like that just wore on them, and that they got tired of it. And it was because they're constantly on the TV. Yeah, with Game of Thrones, you're constantly on social media and whatnot. But
boy, the thing is, it's like you can do other projects. I mean, look at Kit Harington. Look at the girl that plays Ygritte, who Kit Harington married.
Yeah, she's doing so much.
I mean,
Jon Snow in real life married Ygritte.
Yeah, Rose Leslie and him are married.
That is awesome.
Yep,
they are married.
All right, this is a little bit off topic, but Angus, this is a joke that Kit Harington played on her. One day for their anniversary, he got a cake of his severed head made and threw it in the refrigerator before she showed up.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
She just started screeching. She didn't, like, Kit Harington said, oh yeah, she didn't talk to me for like a week. She was so mad.
Well, no, he filmed it too.
Oh yeah.
You can probably find it on YouTube here, but he filmed it.
Awesome.
Like, he was like in the corner, like hiding or whatever. and he like had it, and she opened the fridge. It was his head just severed.
You know, it's not Game of Thrones way, but since y'all told me that he's married to Egret, it's cool. The only other time I've seen that, besides you could maybe argue Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brangelina or whatever that name was.
Brangelina.
Brangelina, there you go. The director of Rogue One, Gareth Edwards, he also did Godzilla before that. His first film is a really cool indie sci-fi film called Monsters, and it's really not a sci-fi movie. It's really you could argue, a love story. It's not sappy or anything, but it's a love story set in a sci-fi setting. And I was just reading up what I could on Wikipedia about the movie when I found it and stuff, and apparently that movie or that casting was like so perfect that the kind of coordinated couple as far as like the plot actually got married, I guess, from their interaction from the movie. So it's like, I love seeing, where it's like a product that's so well crafted that it has a real life effect beyond fame or fortune for actors. So no, find out that Kit Harington's actually married to, I think Rose Leslie. That's awesome.
Well, that's not the first one we ever saw, but even though they didn't last forever, Tim Robbins married Susan Sarandon after Bull Durham.
I've never seen that, so I have no thoughts on that left or right.
No, you should, though. It's probably one of the most classic Kevin Costner baseball movies you'll ever see. And gives you a really good look of what life is like actually in the minor leagues.
Huh. Let's say, back with the Game of Thrones here. One of the saddest moments in Game of Thrones, I think, for me, the entire series. One of the moments that I actually cried watching this thing, and not like bawled like a little baby, but like I had tears going down, was in episode 6 when we found out Hodor's story.
The door.
That broke my heart. That basically ripped. If I can describe it here, here's what happened. When I first watched it, I was sitting there just on the couch, just watching Game of Thrones, just trying to be like, hey, I'm going to hold it together for another episode. No one's going to die. No one's going to die. And then all of a sudden, the children of the forest are wiped out in the sacrifice. Bran's direwolf is killed. And then just to top it off, basically rip my heart out and then just shove it in the mud, get it all around, and then throw my heart into a blender, mix it up, and then freaking put a bunch of soy in it. And then, son of a bitch, that's basically what happened. My heart was ripped out and made into a soy milkshake. I was forced to drink while I had tears going down my face watching Hodor get ripped to shreds.
That wasn't soy. That was manly moisture, sir.
No, I'm just saying it was soy in the fact that I had to go through it.
Rewatching.
It was like being forced to drink soy. I didn't want to go through it. I didn't want to lose Hodor, but I did, and we all did.
Yeah, I've always
all
thought,
the great memes, especially with the guy that plays Hodor, was real men hold the door. It was just like I said I wiped that meme like maybe a day or two after that episode. She just looked at me, growled, and said, "That's way too soon."
Yeah, it's funny with Hodor hearing Moist talk about it from his perspective, because as much as I like Hodor, I thought it was a really good reveal that adds to his character. That's kind of, before that, he's just, he's the guy who carries Bran around, he's just a big dumb giant. I was in the army, okay, and so when I came across Game of Thrones, I guess I saw commercials for it first season or two, but didn't have HBO or cable or anything to watch it, and I didn't know about like streaming at the time. And so I was like, man, I want to see that. And then when I deployed, the medic before me had the first 2 books in the room I took over. So I started reading them, and I had someone send me the other 2. I didn't think I would get to 5 yet, but yeah, read the other 2. And then I started watching it, and everyone was making fun of me, like, oh, you watching some LARP show? Because I was in a dumb infantry unit. But then they saw it had boobs, and then everyone started watching it, and binging it. And it's like, oh, now you like Game of Thrones, Before I was just a dumb LARP guy, but with Hodor, especially with one of the sergeants, he was pretty funny. Hodor, he'd always make retard jokes and stuff, like Hodor and stuff, and it's like he made it like a funny dumbass thing in my infantry unit, and so seeing the deep story behind Hodor and how he became Hodor, some weird time loop or something, with the Three-Eyed Raven or Bran or whoever actually set that in motion.
Bran did.
Bran. It was Bran.
Yeah, Bran. So it's like I like it. It's good, but I can't get emotionally invested because of my background with Hodor in the army. Hodor is like a tar joke, unfortunately, despite him being a nice guy as Hodor, and I assume as an actor. That just it never, there's a perception in place now for me that I just can't remove.
Well, someone's out there barking.
I say,
But no,
So
someone
Matt,
should
you
definitely
had-
make
you-
it. Someone definitely should
I
make
feel
a
like there's a
monument.
lot of floppy wieners here on this cast here right now.
Oh,
While you guys went on,
Adam.
they've been listening. Mr. Moist knows what was going on because he got a picture sent real quick. So 37 minutes Oliver went while you guys were talking about Game of Thrones. So Master Moist still holds the all-time record of 50 minutes with Frank, but Ollie and Paisley, they just knocked out 37 minutes.
And the thing is, I treasure that record with Frank because it is Frank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog clan. So I shall aim to hold that title forever.
oh, hey, Mr. Shawhan, my wife loves the pictures of your wieners.
I am very glad that she does, and I know you enjoy them too, my friend.
They are absolutely adorable.
And for those in the chat that are unaware, that is Wiener Dogs.
Wiener dogs. Wiener dogs.
But I guess another big thing that we could talk about, and really the big elephant in the room for season 6. Well, there's two big elephants in the room.
The bastards.
Episode 9 and episode 10. 10, everybody dies, and then 9, the battle of the fucking bastards.
Oh God.
Well,
we
hey,
have to have the thing is, you also have to do the lead up to the Battle of the Bastards, where Ramsay sends a letter to Jon Snow taunting him that if you try to come after me, Rickon's gonna die, and him goading Jon into the fight.
Well, then it ends in one of the most ultimate gifts ever. Whenever Rickon is essentially killed by Ramsay, Ramsay's just kind of messing around with him and kills him as soon as he gets to Jon Snow. And then Jon just charges. And whenever his horse is killed, one of the all-time gif, is whenever he just throws a scabbard out, pulls Longclaw out, holds it, and there's the whole freaking
army just charging down on him.
and then it goes into the most chaotic series of events that I've ever seen in film. And the best part is that one sequence where it was one camera on Jon Snow following him for like 15, 20 seconds, and it just followed him throughout the battle, just one shot. I think that was some of the best cinematography in a battle that I've ever seen.
Oh, it was meant to be like that, but the thing is, the entire time Rickon is running towards Jon. If you guys have ever seen the abridged cut of Dodge, that's the only thing I could say to Rickon was, why didn't you
Why didn't you zigzag?
Dodge?
It's like freaking. Have you ever watched Dodgeball? It's like if you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball, dodge, duck, dip, dive, dodge, duck. I can't remember.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I remember watching it live. Like I usually watch the seasons like right after they come out, like in a whole. But 5, 6, and 7 were the ones that I watched live every week. And I was at a friend's house. And as Rickon was running, literally, my one friend, her boyfriend, was standing up right at the TV, screaming at Rickon. He's like, "You need to move,
Exactly."
Dodge! Like this guy is just screaming at the TV, and we're all just like, "He's gonna get killed. He's gonna get killed."
Dude.
And this guy is screaming at the TV, "Zigzag dodge!"
Oh my god, dude, Brandon, that is my life as a child this is why I hate Rocky and Bullwinkle, is because like all the time there's like a tree falling and they fucking run in a straight line instead of just going to the left. They maybe have to move 5 steps, you know. And it's like, ugh! When shit like that happens, it totally takes me out. Even as a kid, that took me out of cartoons when they did those gags. And with Rickon, well, I just gotta add with Rickon. Okay, funny story with Rickon. People don't know this, but I knew people were going to want me to do a follow-up to make like EVS or Jeff Hicks Saints, like Saint Germanus. And I told people that will never happen. I don't have the inspiration for those 2 channels in that way, although I do have inspiration with EVS for a religious kind of satire video like Saint Germanus. But it all started when I was thinking about Cecil. I was going to do something about Cecil where it's like... I was gonna make him Jar Jar because I was gonna find that clip where EVS talks about like, oh yeah, he's like he jumps in every stream. He kind of like proper Jeremy. He's everywhere. And I was gonna make an illusion that Cecil is the Jar Jar of the Fandom Menace. He is the key, like George Lucas said. And then it kind of became like Peter Baelish, because Peter Baelish literally is the key to all the events going on in Game of Thrones, for the most part. Maybe not Westeros or Esteros with Daenerys, but it's funny because I will spoil this. This idea with Cecil became a project I'm working on, casting the Fandom Menace as Game of Thrones. All right, and Rickon, trying to make me tear jerk for Rickon is like one of the few shortcomings of Game of Thrones. It's like Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but that worked. Yeah. That worked, even though they forced it. It worked there. Rickon, I didn't give a shit about, and I'm like, good. Now there's one less dumbass on the field in this movie or in this show.
If you want to, in your video, if you want to cast me as the god of water that the Greyjoys worship.
No, I'm casting you as Euron. I think I might have cast you
something involved with the Greyjoys because of the moisture.
But SC Reviews is cast as Rickon because when I started following Jeremy, I didn't sub Jeremy till 90,000 because like I liked his rants, but I didn't feel it was worth my sub. And so he finally started coming to his own, in my opinion. That's when I subbed him, about 90,000. But I've been following him since Solo and his involvement in the High Council. But Jeremy, when I was following Jeremy's channel, I'd be excited. Oh shit, there's more news with Solo, and then it'd be like fucking SC Reviews, and it's like this dude just says the same shit, and he doesn't have like an appeal, a personal appeal to how he presents it, in my opinion. And so it's like, hey, he's probably a nice guy, but I have like no value in his channel, and so yeah, he got cast as Rickon because it's like, yeah. I could do without him.
As long as you give me Grey Worm or Dario, I'm okay.
I'll have to go through my I think I gave you someone better than Grey Worm, like more character. I'll have to go through my notes. I'll text you who it was. I would tell you who I cast as Theon, but I actually called him up beforehand, and I'm like, hey, I cast you for this for a real reason. It's not like a joke. It's not like a dick joke on you. And because I rewatched the show and I was like, I actually had a lot more empathy for Theon the second time around.
Yeah, no, same here. That's a good point.
And he's like, yeah, please don't. I don't want people to pile on me with that because they'll use that.
Proper.
No, it wasn't proper.
Proper Jeremy's got to be Littlefinger.
But no, it was one of those things where it's like I was thinking like, this could go wrong. Like other people, they got a big enough following, they can take it, or if they can't, then they're just bitches. Like they're making money, so like,
going back to the Battle of the Bastards, like Nate said, that had to be one of the greatest battles I've ever seen filmed. I mean, just from start to finish, except for Rickon not learning how to dodge. It like Mr. Moist.
It makes me sprout a chode at minimum, thinking about what we're going to get in season 8.
Because we're going to get more than one gigantic battle. Because first
we have one battle. We have one battle that took 51 nights to film.
That's going to be the battle of the Night King, and then we have to have the fight with Cersei.
And all of it will be glorious. Yes. And I almost cried when I said that.
But I want to get to the other white elephant in the room, and Cersei's master stroke. My God, that move literally certified her as one of the best 5 villains.
Are you talking about the red key or the sept?
Yeah. Yep.
Destruction.
Dude, that whole music progression with like the piano, because like
beautiful.
they actually don't play piano in Game of Thrones really ever, and so it really stuck out to me rewatching. Like this is, like you notice when Solo comes out and it's like you hear like the guitar amplifier sound, like you're like, wait, this ain't fucking Star Wars. And it's the same thing with Game of Thrones in this, but it wasn't like, oh, this isn't Game of Thrones. It was just they never do this, and rewatching, it's like, oh, this is for a reason. It's like they're really making this stand out compared to any other event. And God, that whole set move was amazing.
And not only that, I mean, the fact that what's her name? Not Melisandre, the one that married the youngest son.
Marjorie.
Yeah.
Marjorie, yeah. I always forget her name. It's like, yeah, the hot chick with the kind of
it was impressive how quickly she caught on, but everybody else just looked at her dumbfounded, like, what the hell are you saying? She's like, we need to go. She is going to kill us all.
You know why they didn't listen? Because of toxic masculinity. Olivia Ramsey said, I was blown away by the music. That's morbid. I love it.
But no, I mean, just like, that one guy who finds out and gets in, like, doesn't make it out right before it all goes off. And like I said before, in that moment, Cersei just reminded me of a Romulan. In fact, she reminded me, if you guys have ever seen The Next Generation, what's her damn name? Oh God, now it's gonna escape me. Tasha Yar's daughter. I can never remember her goddamn name because it's played by the same woman. But she reminded me of her. I mean, she reminded me of a Romulan, just that cold-blooded, I will kill you all, and I'm not even gonna let anybody sort it out. Just villainy. It's just like, okay, she nailed it. She is one of my favorite villains of all time.
Well, and we also realize, another elephant in the room here is that we learned Tommen can't fly.
Best swan dive ever. And the thing is, it was just like there was like no emotion behind it. He just kind of waited for him to walk out, threw his crown down.
He just took his crown off.
No hesitation, gone. I was like, whoa!
And to be honest with you, I don't know if he was going to get a hotter chick than Marjorie.
Yeah,
Kingdom,
but
he peaked early.
And the thing is, the kid that played Tommen, he did that so well.
Perfect.
It was just like, what the holy shit! By the time he got shit, he was gone. It was like, damn!
And the thing is, that was such a what the moment. Right after you had a major what the moment.
Yeah.
Not to mention the people that got crushed by the bell, because they didn't dodge either.
Yeah, they didn't dodge either. They didn't even know the bell was coming.
It's like, la da 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 da, let's have a beefsteak. Dong, done.
Yeah, and the thing is, that explosion, that was just like wrecked like a good quarter. I mean, it didn't just take out the set, it took out almost everything around the set. God knows how much collateral damage Cersei inflicted just to get all of her enemies at one time.
But the best part is Cersei's the one that caused it in the first place, because she's the one that put him in power. So that's what makes it even more funny. Then her kid kills himself. It's like, wow, maybe you should have owned up to your shit. Maybe your kid'd still be alive.
And the cherry on top is when Jaime gets back and she's being crowned queen. Just the look of dread on his face of what has just been unleashed on this land.
Like, that's when you first start to see Jaime realizing, oh my, she's bad.
Speaking of this, so one of the theories I have is not really anything that I know of, any deep knowledge of the Game of Thrones universe outside of the books or anything, or the show. My theory, rewatching, I caught this the second time around, the prophecy or what have you from the witch.
Yep.
When she tells her future, that you'll have 3 kids, will all be taken away. That paired with, I think, Emergency Austin. Huh?
I think it's also she'll be killed by her brother. I think is the other.
I don't recall that. If that's the case, still, that's fine. I don't think it hurts my theory. I remember watching Emergency Awesome. I think he did a video where he pointed out that Cersei's breathing cold air. It might have been season 6, it might have been season 7. I'm not sure, but it was like hinting. He was saying like, oh, maybe this is hinting at like some unity of the Night King or him getting all the way down to King's Landing, and it's like she says she's pregnant at the end of 7, and because of that, because that prophecy, so far it's been true. I really think she's going to be the Night King's. I think she's so concerned with her. This is why I don't see her as a true villain. Like I see her. I mean, maybe she is, but I see her having a justified angle, even if she's crazy. I really think that if she has a 4th kid, it'll be undead, so it won't break that prophecy. It'll be with the Night King turning her, and maybe you'll see some weird.
I doubt
birthing of White Walkers or something. I don't know.
That's way too far-fetched. I think the Night King will be dead long before we deal with Cersei. I think she's going to be killed before she even gets birth.
I mean, that's more, I guess, rational, but it's like, I'm trying to think of what George R. R. Martin would do, just being like out of the box and, always turning things on their head. And it's like, well, her saying she's pregnant, anyone that catches like, oh, where's this prophecy? So it's going to die. I think he's setting people up to think, oh yeah, she's just going to get killed easy. But
I like it, Angus. I say that the Night King touches her belly before he dies. The baby turns and it pops through her like an alien's.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for the Night King to you see some motive, but beyond just what the Children of the Forest have shown us, or what the visions of Bran have shown us. I'm waiting to see some emotional output, or just speaks.
I don't think you're gonna see it.
Hey, and what I want to know is what happened to Benji. Poor Uncle Benji.
He's dead. But I think he burdened himself to the point where he can't be used by the Night King.
Interesting.
But
no, with Cersei taking over, that was I didn't really catch that with Jaime, like a dread. I thought maybe he figured it would work out.
No. The look on his face was like pure dread.
Well, see, I thought he might be cool with it, where it's like, hey, we're going to dictate the law now, so it's come at us if you don't like our arrangement together. It's here to stay. That's where I thought I was going to go, and then all of a sudden she brings out fucking Euron later, and it's like, oh, she's been playing this shit for a while.
Is this the season 2 where she kills the shame lady?
The shame lady, I think it's season 5 or season 6.
This is the season where she gives. That was one of the things right before Tommen did his swan dive.
Okay, yeah, that was then, yeah.
Yeah, because he basically gives her to the mountain and says, "Enjoy."
You won't die now. Yes, you're not dying quickly. Oh no.
Well, speaking of deaths here, if we would like to, I can give us the season 6.
Death call.
Death timeline. If we'd like to do that, that's an annual tradition on these reviews. All right, episode 1, the Red Woman. 15 at minute 15:47, a Bolton officer is killed by Brienne of Tarth. 10 minutes later, Ario Hota is stabbed in the back by Tyenn Sand, and just right after that, Dorian Martell is killed by Ilaria Sand. And then Master Colliette is killed by Tyenn Sand. And then Tristan Martell is killed by Oberyn Sand with a spear to the face.
Yeah, I forgot about the Prince of Dorne getting killed.
We talked about that a little bit in the beginning. But going ahead into episode 2. Episode 2's name is Home. King's Landing Boaster is killed by the mountain at 12 minutes in. And then Roose Bolton is killed by Ramsay Bolton. Walda Bolton killed by Ramsay Bolton's dogs. And Newborn Bolton killed by Ramsay Bolton's dogs. And Balon Greyjoy is thrown over a bridge at minute 42 by Euron Greyjoy. Episode 3, Oathbreaker. Gerald Hightower is killed by Ned Stark. Arthur Dayne killed by Ned Stark. John Umber died during the War of the Five Kings. Bowen Marsh executed by Jon Snow. Othel Yarwick executed by Jon Snow. Alistair Thorne executed by Jon Snow. And Bastard, you bastard, Ollie. Thankfully, you were killed by Jon Snow. At episode 4, Book of the Stranger, Ego is killed by Daria Naharis. Echo, killed by Daria Naharis. Osha, she's killed by Ramsay Bolton. And Morrow and 9
Oh shit!
are burned alive by Daenerys Targaryen. Episode 5, The Door, White Walkers, killed by Mira Reed at minute 50. The Three-Eyed Raven, killed by the Night King. Leaf, suicide by activating an explosive device, taking out whites. And Hold the Door, Hodor is torn apart by whites. Episode 6, Blood of My Blood, Aerys Targaryen, killed by Jaime Lannister in 2 minutes and 49 seconds. Episode 7, The Broken Man, Mage Mormont is killed as she had died during the War of the Five Kings, and Brother Ray and villagers are killed by members of the Brotherhood without banners. And that is the episode that we get the Hound back, though. So we lost a bunch of the villagers, but we got the Hound. Episode 8, No One, we get Steve, killed by Sandor Clegane. Riddle, killed by Sandor Clegane. Morgan, killed by Sandor Clegane. Gattens, killed by guess who? Sandor Clegane. And Faith Millant, killed by a Clegane, but it's the Mountain this time. And we have Brendan Tully, killed by a Lannister soldier. Outlaw, killed by Sandor Clegane. Lemon Cloak, killed by Sandor Clegane. Outlaw, Sandor Clegane. Big episode this time. Big episode. Outlaw, hung by the Brotherhood without banners. Lady Crane, killed by the wife. And the waif, killed by Arya Stark, one of the no-face people. Episode 9, Battle of the Bastards. Belliccio Painmagnon, I can't say his name, killed by Grey Worm. Raz Dalmo Iraz, killed by Grey Worm. Rickon Stark, shot by an arrow fired by Ramsay, as discussed, R.I.P. Small John Umber, killed by Tormund Greyjoy. And One Darwan, shot with an arrow fired by Ramsay after he took about 50 to the face. R.I.P. the Giants. And then Ramsay was alive by his dogs. Episode 10, The Winds of Winter. We have Grand Maester Pycelle. Completely forgot about this kill. Killed by kids. Lancel Lannister, killed by Wildfire. High Sparrow, killed by Wildfire. Wildfire, big episode. If you bet on Wildfire to have 10 kills, you got a lot of money here today. Tyrell, killed by Wildfire. Loras Tyrell, killed by Wildfire. Mace Tyrell, killed by Wildfire. Kevin Lannister, killed by Wildfire. Tywin Baratheon, suicide by jumping out of window after watching people killed by Wildfire. Walters Rivers, killed by Arya Stark. Lothar Frey, killed by Arya Stark. And Walter frickin' Frey, killed by Arya Stark.
That was the cherry on top of the season.
Smile upon his death. And that is, folks, your season 6 death timeline.
Yes, I forgot to talk about that. My girl Arya taking out Walter freaking Frey. That was beautiful.
And living my rhapsody, I'm glad they got you pumped up. I mean, that was the lightning round of death.
Oh yeah. Hey, Moist, you should do an edited lightning round of like deaths in each season, like boom, 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 animate it however you want and stuff, and just fucking nuke their heads.
I'll do like a stick. I'll do like a stop motion with stick figures. How people die. Yeah, no, that's actually a very good idea. I might have to do that.
But no, that's one other thing I wanted to talk about before I have to bounce out here, because I promised my wife we would finish the last season of The Last Kingdom. But no, Arya Stark showing the North remembers, and it will get its vengeance.
Oh, that's beautiful,
dude. I love that because I'm such a Stark fanboy. Because I don't know if any of y'all know, but my daughter. Thank God I had a daughter. So first off, if I would have had a son, she was born before Last Jedi, so I would have named a son Kylo. My wife was cool with it, and thank God I had a daughter, because would have been Kylo. But I named her middle name Snow for multiple reasons. My wife loves Snow White, but she also likes Game of Thrones, and we were at Fort Drum, New York before I got out of the army. And
that's a good compromise there.
Yeah, so it's the North Country. They literally call it the North Country, and it is like living in Winterfell when it snows and shit. Like when winter's coming in the North Country, and so Stark. Even though it was disappointing, because I feel that maybe besides Jon Snow carrying it on by memory at the time, I thought the Starks were just off because Sansa and Arya, I didn't think they were going to go anywhere as far as a major plot to get them back to Winterfell. So it was great, but yeah, like the whole after the Red Wedding, it's like I just lost all hope for the Starks, and it's great that it's kind of coming back to like remember the North, the King of the North. Like, yeah, we're back in Winterfell, baby. So no, yeah, I'm still not sold on Arya. Like I've liked points of her plot, but yeah, I'm not sold on her.
Arya's my girl.
Part of the hierarchy. But I did love when she killed Walder. No, yeah, I appreciate her. But I'm not sold. It's Sansa's better to me, even though I loved when Sansa would get like slapped and shit. Cause it's like so much of this plot is because of you.
Yeah.
But no, watching Arya just like be the one of the faceless and just starting. She's got that list. She's checking it twice. And
you're gonna find out who's been naughty to the Starks.
Yeah, pretty much. And the way she just absolutely obliterates and basically said, all the women, I'm not going to touch you. All the men, you're dead.
Her best kill, I think, through the entire series is Meryn Trant. In season 5. I think that's her best kill.
Yep. But I think the best is yet to come with Arya. I really do. Oh, but that was such a great scene. I was so tickled and like, yes! I was literally, my wife and I were literally cheering.
Yeah.
Where Kiki? You guys hear me?
Yeah.
This is little Snow.
Hello.
There we go. Say hi. Move with
He's adorable.
There we go. Well, I'm just trying to get the sunlight out so you can actually see her. Say hi. There you are, Kiki. He's not used to the thing. Yep, this is my little Snow. She's not a bastard. Say hi.
So she's a proper heir to the throne.
Well, no, I have a son, so he is the
But no, that takedown by Arya was literally the best.
Yeah, I mean,
that was definitely a righteous kill.
And the thing is, with season 6, I mean, the fact that how much it ramped up, because I mean, season 5, as we discussed, a couple weeks ago or whatever, it was, it's kind of a filler. There was still a lot of stuff that happened, but it was more of a filler. Kind of a reset. Everybody take a step back, realize, okay, hey, we're at a new part in the series. Let's reestablish the characters and get them set up in their new spots, aka Tyrion. And let's get them set up for what they're going to be doing the rest of the show. And season 6 freaking just puts the pedal to the metal to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you start seeing season 6, that's when the end is coming. The end is near, unfortunately.
And they aren't slowing down for love and money.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's got me pumped not just to watch Game of Thrones again, like the whole fucking show. I don't know if some people might be new here in the chat, but me and Brandon were talking about this. You're not a father, are you, Brandon?
No.
Okay. I know. Yeah, I was just clarifying it, making sure you don't know if you have any bastards of the North.
No.
But
I just have a cat.
Yeah, when I first started watching Game of Thrones, started watching in Afghanistan, and then I didn't get married till like a year after that, and then we got pregnant with my son a couple months after marriage. But while we were watching, it's like, okay, we were just pregnant, and then I kind of fell off from like keeping up with it in the moment when like at least the physical media got released right away. And so I watched the first few seasons disjointed from the newer seasons where I like binged them to catch it back up. And so rewatching the whole show as a father, it adds another layer. Just like when you watch How to Train Your Dragons series, all this stuff with oh, who's the dad? Stoic. Even the third one they include Stoic, and it's like the way they do it's like, oh, it's getting the daddy, pulling those heartstrings, and that's why I love Game of Thrones, because it has all these layers for it. It's like Shrek in the onion analogy. It's good on a surface value to drag you in with like the sex and gore, and then there's like the World War I kind of analogy of like little things becoming a huge plot factor going forward with the battles and wars of factions. And then you're a parent and you see, like Robb Stark go and Tommen, and you look at Tywin and Cersei a different way. You look at Theon a different way. It's got so much going for it, along with all the arguments right now with feminism and stuff, and sexuality representation. It's been there from the start. And when SJW's tried to attack Martin at like conferences, he's like, well, yeah, we cast a bunch of brown people with Daenerys because we're in Morocco. It's cheaper to pay Moroccans in Morocco than fly a bunch of white people from Ireland.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not only that, would you really put a bunch of white people in a desert like that? No, they tan up.
Well, he was talking about like he didn't really envision the Horde following her to just be like brown, but that was just limitations of filming. Where it's like, yeah, you got your lead actress as a whitey and like, Jorah and whatnot, but like some of the ways it's presented in the book are different than in the show is different than like he imagined. That's just the way filming works.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he said, because there was a person at a university that confronted him saying, "Oh, why is like the Dothraki, why are they more colored compared leading by a white person? Is that how you envisioned it?" He's like, "No, when you're filming in Morocco, it's it's exactly what Black Angus said, and that's what he said. It's cheaper to hire Moroccans that are looking for a job to play than bring in other actors from Ireland or whatever.
All right, guys,
we're going to use our assets where we're filming."
Yeah, well, guys, I need to bounce out of here. Fun as always. Catch you guys later.
Yeah, hey, Jeff, before you go, just real quick, if you're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just throw this out there for everyone earlier since you're leaving. I think at 3 or 4 p.m., I'm not sure, I'll check, but 3 or 4 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing a live watch of Empire Despecialized Edition on John Talk's channel. And then Sunday night tonight, 10:30 Eastern, I'll be be having him on for an episode of Utter Chaos to get to know John better and like a deep interview. So
probably won't make those, but
that's fine. Just figure out to throw those out before you leave.
All right, well, thanks, man. But I need to get out of here. Talk to you guys later.
We'll see you, Joe.
Yep.
All right. Fortunate Jeff left, but we can still carry on. Wait a minute. Oh, I thought Flipped Out sent me a text that was like important. It was just him goofing off at work. What are some more points? Adam, we haven't heard much from you this episode. Is he still muted?
I see his mic is muted.
Yeah, it is. Damn it. Dealing with those wiener dogs. I'm trying to think. What else haven't we covered?
Hodor, we got that covered. Battle of Bastards. I mean, I guess we can talk a little bit about Ramsay Snow's, or I keep calling him Ramsay Snow, Ramsay Bolton's death. I think that it was one of the more poetic justice moments of Game of Thrones, of which poetic justice we don't get a whole lot of in Game of Thrones. So it's like, thank you for giving us this one moment that we can have.
I think because with Joffrey, at least in watching the show, I can't remember reading the books, but when Joffrey dies in the show, it's kind of out of left field.
Yeah.
You think, all right, there's a wedding, he should be completely fine and safe, and maybe he'll get killed in some mechanization somewhere else by an assassin, or
I know we did just have the red wedding though.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, like they were feeling so high, so then it's like cut the legs out from under the Lannisters, which was great. But yeah, so I didn't expect it, but it wasn't like, oh, you really got them back, for for House Stark, or anyone else that he's like been a part of fucking over. It just kind of was like, oh, and then you realize it was a grandma making sure her granddaughter didn't marry a piece of shit like that.
Well,
I thought it was the end of Tyrion, to be honest with you. I thought Joffrey was going to kill him.
Yeah, I was scared for Tyrion, definitely.
If I can give you guys a quick little fun story here relating to weddings in Game of Thrones. So one of my coworkers got married not too long ago, and during the reception he had on the playlist for songs that they were playing, he had the Lannister theme song. Come on. and that's what comes on during the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones as the Starks get killed. So, and it's funny because his wife is a diehard his wife's family, diehard Game of Thrones fans. Like he's a diehard Game of Thrones fan, like all his buddies are. So it was funny because as soon as that happened, he said the DJ put on the Red Wedding, and then everyone just started like turning around like, what? And then they switched it up and they put it back on the regular music. But he said it was the greatest like 30 seconds of his life that he had.
Dude, you know what? It's funny. Someone, a coworker at work, he's kind of a dumbass. Unfortunately, like he's one of those people, and he's not young either. He doesn't know about like the Phantom Menace and like in depth like making a YouTube channel about pop culture. Mm-hmm. And so, like, we're all ingrained in it, and so he's just kind of, casual. Like, oh yeah, did you like Spider-Man, Spider-Verse? I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden he changes to Venom. And he's like ADD, can't keep on one topic. But he showed me out of nowhere. I was actually pleasantly surprised. He showed me talking about Star Wars. Apparently, they for opening night they played a gag on people where it's like Star Wars trivia, and it's like, oh, what did Ben give Luke in 77's New Hope? And then all of a sudden it's like, how did Chewbacca die in 2015's The Force Awakens? And this is like the opening night for The Force Awakens. And then it's like, what event caused the resurrection of Darth Vader? How did Leia die in The Force Awakens? And it's like the answer is like submerging the Falcon, and which is like, God, if they would have killed her by drowning her in the Falcon, I would have loved it because I fucking hate Leia. But
think about it. Her, Leia, Chewie, and Han all together in the Falcon. Awesome.
No, I want the like most, as people talk about disservice to fans and stuff with Star Wars, it's like I'm totally fine with any disservice with Leia just because I hate that character. She embodies what people stereotype Captain America to be, like the Boy Scout idea and stuff, where it's like Captain America's actually a lot more conflicted than you think. It's just he works to make the hard rights. Leia is like the goody two shoes. You need the prequels to actually justify her background and her stance. Otherwise, it's just, oh, the Empire's bad and I'm going to get you before Alderaan. You have no idea what the Empire can or has done. But yeah, you telling me about the Red Wedding thing made me think of that gag I saw, and it's like, God, that was amazing.
That would be pretty crazy.
Let's see. Yeah, with Ramsay though, yeah, it was funny making him puppy chow. Because we're watching the show. It's like, what, he pops up in season 3, right? With Theon's plot.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I didn't realize he was such a long spanning character for the show.
Such a well acted character too.
Because you're like, oh, this guy's gonna help him.
It's just like with Jack Gleason with him playing Joffrey. You feel bad for the people that played them because they played them so well, and people see them in public, or it's like, oh, I hate Ramsay or I hate Joffrey, and it's like, if I was that actor, it's like, well, I did something right, and that's listening to I think it was. It might have been Jimmy Kimmel or one of the late night people. They interviewed him, the guy that played Ramsay, and he's like, and I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Kimmel, and he's like, I can't help but look at you and see Ramsay Bolton, and just not like you. And then he just started laughing, and he's like, but I've done my job, haven't I? And like, perfect. And Jimmy Kimmel's like, you have. He's like, this is perfect. And Ramsay, the guy that plays him, was just like, he's like, as an actor, this is what we look to achieve. When when people see us, they see us as these characters, and they're just like, "Oh, you're probably a really nice guy." He's like, "I like to think I am, but I hate your character." He's like, and that's the best compliment that I could ever get. And he's actually a very talented guy. He stars in a few Broadway musicals now, because he's actually a stage actor, is what he really is, and he's a musician and whatnot. But he just fit that Ramsey Bolton mold. But what he's always wanted to do is stage acting, which is awesome and good for him that he's doing it now. I mean, I think that's awesome. But I think he gave us one of the most memorable and most memorable sinister villains that we could all just be like, "Oh, thank God he died."
Yeah, it's funny because Sansa, I was thinking about this earlier. I thought we'd get to Ramsay sooner, but with Sansa, she, starts with like besides the attack on Bran, there's like the key event with kind of starting to split people up with Arya and Sansa and Joffrey in that attack with Nymeria, I think.
Yeah.
And you see her as like this dumb girl who has these like fanciful ideas of pleasing the king and being the prince, but the idea of becoming a queen, and just these fairy tale ideas that George R. R. Martin crushes every episode. And she embodies that, and it's like the world is a lot more cruel place than that could ever allow for these fantasies. And for a while you think, oh, she's going to get raped multiple times. The show was Joffrey just going to rape her and make her his side piece before he gets married, especially with his torture of like the whores and stuff. And she never makes a move to like advance against the Lannisters or anything, where it's like she could have knocked off Joffrey and killed him when he's showing off her dad's head on the pike. And it's like, oh, you bitch, you're just too weak to do anything. She's like, I've always hated her. And then, you finally start liking her. She comes around, she's mature, and she's seen the real world and learned the Game of Thrones a bit from Peter Baelish. And then she gets married to Ramsay, and it's like, oh, she's back at the North. And oh yeah, now she gets married. Now she's just gonna get raped every night. It's like, fuck, I didn't see that coming. And then making Theon watch and him bawling and stuff. It's just like, God, they escalated the villainy of Ramsay so well. But then he killed Rickon. It's like, oh, I kind of like him now.
No, he was a villain that it was. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
I was gonna say, remember though, it wasn't Theon, it was Reek that was stuck watching, not Theon. It was
no,
Reek.
No, it's Reek.
It's Reek. It is Reek, my friend. Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, I think that Ramsay was such a villain that you hate, but you hated to see him go.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, damn. Like when he died, I'm like, damn it, we're not gonna have any more Ramsay, because it's kind of like the Batman and Joker. It's like, think about it, like, think about the Dark Knight. Whenever the Joker, played by Heath Ledger, R.I.P. He's just like, you can't kill me. You want me around because I'm fun.
Yep.
And it's just like, when I think about it, I'm just like, what the Joker just said about himself. Yes, that's true in Batman's universe, but also that's very true about Ramsay Snow in Game of Thrones. I just kind of like think about it and just think about the Dark Knight Rises, and I think about the Joker saying, you can't kill me because I'm too much fun.
Well, Ramsay, that's the thing, though. He beat Jon in the Battle of the Bastards. I mean,
if it wasn't for the Knights of the Vale and Sansa,
Jon was getting squished. At the end of the day, Jon came through all right. But yeah, I mean, when you think about it strategically, that sadistic mofo,
and the best to be done. And it was hilarious too whenever Ramsay's like, "Oh, I'll take you up in the one-on-one combat," and he starts shooting arrows at him, and then Jon has the shield.
Yep.
And he just walks up and just starts beating the piss out of him.
I was thinking, you said Batman. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the DC, one of the newer animated ones, Gotham by Gaslight. It's like a 1800s Batman. And I was thinking of like how ridiculous it'd be to like all of a sudden have like Jon Snow be like the king of the North or all of Westeros, but at night he dons a cape and hood and fights crime in the streets in the roads of Westeros, and you see him like his main enemy is fucking Ramsay with some Joker paint, and they're like chasing each other in wagons, and like fucking Ramsay's just like shooting arrows at him. Just so ridiculous.
On a complete random note, I'm actually I bought, and I now, because I had some gift cards for Barnes & Noble that I hadn't used from Christmas, I have the entire Injustice comic book series now, and I started reading it. It's very good. I enjoy it a lot. I know there's a lot of criticism of the game and whatnot, but the comics, I'm enjoying them. They're fun to read. But no, that would be hilarious too. Jon Snow, he's cleaning up the streets of King's Landing.
It's with this like Irish accent. It's like, I'm Batman or whatever. It's like,
I'm Batman. I don't want to go to combat. I'd rather just turn you in. But if it means saving the wildlings and beating the White Walkers.
You got it, dude. You got it so well. It sounds like he's kind of short of breath all the time. He's really got to force it out of his lungs.
It sounds like he doesn't want to go to battle. I don't want to go to battle.
Oh, hey, you know what? Speaking of, I forgot about this point, but child actors, all right. So you're talking about people, the kids and stuff, Game of Thrones, having some other roles. Yeah. Well, besides, me, I love the X-Men series. Besides, Wolverine Origins, of course. There's different rankings. People, crap on Apocalypse. I love Apocalypse. Logan, of course, is a great character story. And I want to see them continue the whole X-23 thing from that storyline. But, of course, it's Disney, so they'll just rewrite it. But there's a movie I saw with my wife because I love kids' animated movies. Not just growing up with them like Toy Story, but I love seeing good shit like I just saw.
No, I enjoy them too. Like,
yeah, I just saw How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Wreck-It Ralph is one of my all-time favorites.
Dude, I am actually working on an essay about Wreck-It Ralph because I liked it, but my kids are obsessed with it right now, and so I'm watching it like every day, and I'm like, holy shit! I had like a Lion King epiphany about what it's saying about life and like your status.
Well, hey, if you ever need some comment or whatever, let me know. I will gladly give you some comments.
Poor dude, Angus, awesome. He's thinking he's dreaming of it, and he realizes, oh shit, I'm still awake watching Wreck-It Ralph. Uh-oh. Been there, done that. My kids, it was their Aristocats.
I used to like it, and it's not because of the racist Asian Siamese cats or anything. I love racist humor in the old Disney movies. Like some of my favorite characters are the racist crows in Dumbo, and it's like that's why it's no reason I'm hashtag boycott Disney, because no racist crows, no Angus in the theater.
Gotta have them racist crows, bro.
But yeah, with Bran actually played in a beautiful, sweet animated. I guess you call it claymation or like Nightmare Before Christmas. That's type of animation. It's called Box Trolls, and oh my god! When I found out it was Bran that was the voice of like the lead boy character, I'm like, oh my god, he got the freaking three-eyed raven. Is this like in this cute kids movie? That's I don't know. Like, I feel there's something deeper to it, but I can't piece it out yet. But it's definitely talking about like wealth and stuff, not in a like SJW way, but just like I see some sort of philosophy about wealth and stature in the movie. That's probably rooted in like, I don't know, French Revolution philosophy or something. Yeah, it's another great movie y'all should check out if you're looking for other things from the Game of Thrones cast, if you like to follow actors and see where they go and how they spread their wings.
I like how Alfie Allen, who played Theon, also Reek, was also in John Wick and was an asshole in that movie. So he's just got it stacked against him. I haven't seen Predator, so I don't know the newer Predator because I think he's in that as well. 2018, The Predator. But when he was in John Wick, and then of course he had the roles in Game of Thrones, you're just like, God, they're just casting him to be an asshole so that you hate him. But it's been pretty funny. And then he's going to be in Jojo the Rabbit. It's like,
Sorry, I just saw Moxrock. So me and then Moxrox joined me against Shellback, and we're all having dialogue about Leia. And Moxrock said, "Cut off Leia's Cinnabons from A New Hope and sell them on eBay." And Shellback's like, "You need therapy." He's saying all heretics will burn because I'm all about hashtag kill Leia.
Kill Leia. Oh.
Oh man, this has been fun. This is probably the most fun we've had in the streams for Game of Thrones. Like they're all great. This is the most fun I can remember.
We're having a good time here.
You were missed last time, my friend. You know,
No.
we were. I'm glad that we did a recap, even though I was extremely late due to you know, the dogs getting it on.
Well, hey, you know what? I really hated that. I'd try to hit up Brandon like, hey, if you want to push it back, I could join you at work or on my phone, but just stuff came up. I couldn't join at that scheduled time. And then the 2 weeks before I was on Branch Show again, I just lacked sleep and happened to catch up unfortunately during the stream before I went to work.
And then with Jon Snow passing. The cat
us a little bit.
Because you had John pass, and then we had little bitty pass, and it just for all of us, it was just like, yep, we'll do it next week.
and hey, I had said that earlier today you guys got to see the Danny, my new cat. Yep. She's doing well. She's sleeping right now, and she's sleeping on Jon Snow's favorite blanket. So it's great to see that. And also for those of you, Jon Snow is home with me. I have his ashes. So Jon Snow has his rightful place on the bookshelf next to the windowsill where he used to always sit and watch out the windowsill. So even in his ashes, he is still the watcher on the wall.
That is clever. I like that.
Yep.
I guess we'll let both of y'all plug your channels. I actually got to go, so I'll let you plug your channels, and I'll say something about a new show that y'all should watch, and then I'll leave y'all and resume talking to y'all in about a couple hours on John Talk's channel.
So I'll just lead off here that I'm the Moist from Moist Visions Inc. And I've been a little off of YouTube here for the past month, just with some personal things going on. I just talked about my cat and adopting a new one, so just we're going to be restarting, basically redoing everything here. I'm the host of the weekly Moistcast that will be restarting tonight at 6:30 to 7:30, whichever works for more people. And we'll be talking a little pop culture and whatnot, and giving you the moistest takes on the YouTube. And I'm a huge history nerd, and I live in Northern Virginia, so there's a lot of Civil War sites near me. So right now I'm actually working on putting together a YouTube series that will be giving you little virtual live tours of areas around Manassas, leading up to the anniversaries of the Battle of First Manassas and the Battle of Second Manassas in 1861, 1862. So I hope you guys can enjoy them, even if you're not a big history nerd. Hopefully I can just show you a new area, just show you some new sites, things that you might enjoy, and give you a little quick history lesson. Feel free to check me out on Moist Visions Inc.
And I'm just super fan Adam Shawhan with Frank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, where you can check out my wiener dogs running, playing, having fun, being nothing but wiener dogs. That's pretty much all I do.
The way you say that, I remember I was looking for so it's really hard trying to find good cosplay videos of Star Wars people, of like Star Wars chicks for like my video intros. And so that's why I don't make a lot of new intros with the imagery wise. And so I was looking up like Slave Leia or something, and then I came across this girl, really nice, attractive girl, was doing this gag where it's like she just goes around and like kisses women and like lets whatever happens like in the street. See, might all be staged, but it seems legitimate and real. And it's funny because she like comes up to one who's like, you think was a friend, but that's like her girlfriend or wife, and then like she's got like a 2-for-1 special out of that. Some people are kind of like, what the hell's going on here, and they'll like leave. It's awkward, or funny shit though. And I could just, for one, it's like, of course girls can get away with dumb shit like this. Of course we would get sexual harassment just for the thought of playing a gag like this, being men. But also I was thinking it'd be funny if Adam Shawhan in his Wiener Dog Clan, if he did some sort of gag like that, where he's like, hey, you want to come see my wiener dogs, having pamphlets out to people or something, where it's like, what the fuck is this? That'd be great to see some hidden camera reactions. But yeah, in closing, there's a new show I started watching because my buddy Salty Nerd on Twitter, he's always the optimist with pop culture and film. And he's been ranking the 18 episodes of this new show on Netflix called Love, Death, and Robots. And I started watching because the trailer looks awesome. It's got all these different animation styles for the different shorts, I guess. And wow, I'm halfway through it already. And God, I cannot wait to see the rest and rewatch this shit. And maybe make some videos about some episodes because they got one about like you just gotta check it out. They got one that's like an alien swarm on a farm, and then you realize, holy shit, this is a totally different than I was thought. Some crazy action sequence stuff where it's just like the plot is left open. It's a lot like Cloverfield, like I was hinting at with Brandon Moyce, where it's like maybe all these stories are somehow interconnected through a multiverse or something. I don't know, but just wacky ideas that you might be able to make into a bigger story, but it's good just as a small little snippet to enjoy. So check that show out. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at Angus Reviews. It's all the time I got. I got to go head to work now. So thank you all for joining. Check out Moist Visions Inc. Check out Adam Shawhan and the Frank Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan. I hope I'm saying that channel right. Y'all have a great day. And also check out Living My Rhapsody if you love Game of Thrones and you haven't, because that's pretty much what her channel's all about from what I understand. So see you around.